Shalom. Welcome to Challenging Torah. Welcome back as we open up a new book, the book of Exodus, or Shemot in Hebrew. And it's like that moment of cracking open a new book. You kind of look at the cover, smell it, open the book, and realize, oh yeah, this is actually a sequel. It's connected to the book before. Because this is the story that is the story of the Jewish people. And we know the story well because, to quote, it is a mitzvah to tell of the Exodus from Egypt, as it says in our Haggadah, and all who tell it at length are praiseworthy. We have been hearing this story ever since we ate our first matzah ball. And yet, it is a story of challenges that present themselves in different ways, at different steps on our own journey throughout our lives. We are always constantly coming out of Egypt, from the Mitzarim, from the narrow places, into a new place of light and freedom. And the question always at the core of the book is, how do we not only do our own exodus, but help others to come out of Egypt so that there is no more slavery in the world? That is the task of the Jewish people. But we start with a very specific story. It's our journey, and so we name names, right? These are the names of the sons of Israel who came to Egypt with Jacob, every man with his household. They give you all the names of the boys, and all of the souls who came from the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And then the most chilling lines of all of Torah: there arose a new king in Egypt who knew not Joseph. The Jews have been protected, living in Goshen, beautiful, rich, affluent, adjusted, assimilated, they say. And then the king, the Pharaoh, another generation, what have you done for me lately? And we begin to see the pattern that we've seen again and again in history, where the Jews become suspect, then become feared, and in fearing them, they are turned into almost subhumans who need to be driven out to save the civilization of the land. And so, they use the words, therefore they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built cities for Pharaoh, Ramses, and Pithom, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied. Ishratsu is the word that's used for multiply. Same word used for reptiles. It's as if we've become vermin that need to be expelled. And of course, we know the story. The midwives are told to kill every baby boy and let the girls live. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, and the name of one was Shiphrah, and the other Puah. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. The first civil disobedience. We don't know if these women are Jewish or not clear, Ivriot, just to the Hebrews. How did they have this connection with the Pharaoh? But they are named in this book of Shemot, where Miriam isn't even named yet. Yocheved isn't even named yet, the mother and sister, but we name these women. And it becomes, the first two chapters of the book of Exodus are really women's story. It's a birthing story. A story of the Nile as a birth canal. A baby in the basket that goes down the Nile. Women who birth and protect this young hero that will become the savior of the Jewish people. Coming out of the bush, when Moses finally turns around, pays attention after he has fled Egypt and has taken out Jethro's flocks to be watered, and the bush is burning. And when the Lord saw that he had turned aside to see, God called to him from out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. We probably have burning bushes all around us, and we don't see. And God says, take off your shoes. The place where you stand is holy ground. The place where we stand is always holy ground. What does it take for us to take that moment of mindful, focused, essential beingness to see the fire? And after Moses has said, Hineni, I'm here, God then explains the task. No, it's time. You're going to go back, take the Jews out of Egypt, and save them. And I heard their cry, and they've been suffering in terrible labor. And Moses says to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and I should bring forth the people of Israel out of Egypt? We've been taking the year to talk about midot. And this is the midah of anava, of humility. But there's misplaced humility as well. There's the humility of the midwives, who may be humble but knew when to rise to the task. And the humility of Moses here, who's like, oh, no, I can't possibly handle this. It's a misplaced humility. If God asked you to do this and you said you're here, what is this conversation? And so we have to look at our own struggles to take on and become who we really are. This is the challenge of the Challenging Torah this week. And as we end, I ask you the question, so who are you? To be continued. Shabbat Shalom.